So everyone's in the tent. Now we just need to take this. Good job. Very well done. So you're going to announce yourself and call yourself by your title. Thank everyone. Thank Ava for hosting. You're going to be great. Try to stay out of this cord right here.
We'll do. 10:05, right? 10:05.
10:05. Oh, it's in the water. Hold tight. Hold tight.
Okay.
Here, done. What do you want to say? Oh, you want this? That's the way to recycle. 2 minutes. Go, 2 minutes.
You want me to? Okay. Let's get started, Bob.
We're doing a 10:05. I'll give you the cue.
Okay.
Yeah, I told Kevin. Go ahead and remind him. We're nice, but I can't believe they've got. Who doesn't take an aisle seat? There's Satina.
Live streaming, we want to start.
Yeah, we're doing 10:05. We put it on we're going live at 10:05. It's the longest minute in my world.
It is.
We're good.
Right?
We're good.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here this morning. My name is Kira Alonso. I am the interim section manager for Water Resource Management Metropolitan. First off, I want to start off by thanking AVEC for hosting us this morning and really appreciate it. But we do have a long program, so I will go ahead and hand it off to Mr. Matt Knutson, the AVAC General Manager.
Thank you, Kiara. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you all making the journey out here today to celebrate the grand opening of the High Desert Water Bank. I'd like to start by thanking the Antelope Valley or East Kern Water Agency Board of Directors, also known as AVAC, and also the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, which, as you know, this project is a partnership between AVAC and Metropolitan Water District, and we're excited to where we are today. So my name is Matt Knutson. I'm the General Manager for Antelope Valley East Kern Water Agency. And on behalf of the entire AVAC organization, I'd like to start by thanking Metropolitan Water District for entrusting AVAC with the development of this new water bank that will benefit both agencies' customers for decades to come. We look forward to continuing to build and maintain the strong partnership with Metropolitan that has gotten to us to this milestone today. So before introducing the AVAC board members and some of the guests here today, I want to share a brief story that started about 6 years ago. So I was interviewing for the position at AVAC as the assistant general manager, and part of my interview process was with Dwayne Chisholm, the former GM for AVAC. And as part of the second part of the interview, he called me in and we hopped in his truck, and he said, we're going on a little field trip. So we took a journey from AVAC headquarters out here to just about where we're standing today. It might have been a little closer to the aqueduct to the south here. But we got out of the truck and Dwayne says, AVAC is going to build a 280,000 acre-feet storage facility right here in this field. And I thought, wow, this guy's a little crazy, a little ambitious. But I really appreciated his vision that he had for building a water bank of this magnitude. I wanted to tell this story because that was only 6 years ago from today. And today, Metropolitan Water District is taking advantage of this historical wet year and an abundant supply of state water project supply. As you can see, it's percolate or bubbling up behind us and percolating into this groundwater basin. Thank you, Dwayne, for the leadership you have provided during your time at AVAC. At this time, I'd like to welcome the elected representatives that work on behalf of the constituents that live and work within the AVAC service area. I don't know if any of the electeds are actually here, but I think some of their field representatives are. So we have Congressman Kevin McCarthy, Congressman Mike Garcia, State Senator Scott Wilk, State Senator Shannon Grove, State Assembly Tom Lackey, State Assembly Juan Carrillo. We also have representatives from LA County Board of Supervisors Office of Catherine Barger, as well as Kern County Board of Supervisor Representative Zach Scrivener. Also like to acknowledge the mayors and city council members that represent Palmdale, Lancaster, and California City. Thank you for all you that have attended today and supporting AVAC. Now I'd like to quickly introduce the AVAC board members that provide the vision and leadership and guidance in developing a robust water supply portfolio for the AVAC customers. To begin, President George Lane is here. Vice President Frank Donato could not make it this morning, but he was intimately involved with the development of the High Desert Water Bank and chairs our High Desert Water Bank Committee. We have Keith Dias here today. Keith is also on the High Desert Water Bank Committee with a couple of other board members. We have Director Robert Perris. I'd like to just note that Rob Perris represents AVAC on the Antelope Valley Water Master Board, which, as you know, the Water Master is really key to doing a project of this magnitude in the groundwater, the adjudicated groundwater basin. I haven't seen him yet, but oh, there he is. Good morning, Director Gary Van Dam. Gary is also on the High Desert Water Bank Committee with the other two board members. We also have Director Audrey Miller. And last but not least, Director Drew Mercy. I also want to acknowledge former Director Shelley Sourcewell and late Director Justin Lane, both of which contributed to the development of this project. So I don't know if some of you have ever witnessed the AVAC board in action during committees or at the board meeting, but you'll quickly see that each board member brings their own personal experience and expertise that collectively make any project developed by AVAC a first-class project. And we're seeing the results of one of those projects today. I will invite AVAC's board president, George Lane, up in just a couple minutes to say a few words. But first, I'd like to hit some of the highlights about the High Desert Water Bank project. So the project encompasses nearly 1,300 acres of land. We're kind of at pretty much right in the middle of it on the south side of that 1,300 acres. It is located within the adjudicated Antelope Valley groundwater basin, and it's ultimately going to have the capacity to recharge up to 70,000 acre-feet per year. Store up to 280,000 acre-feet in the groundwater basin. And then in future dry years or times of interruption to the state water project supply, it will have the ability to recover up to 70,000 acre-feet per year. There's also a newly constructed 250 cubic feet per second turnout just to the south of us here. Hopefully you all get a chance to go over there and check that out, get some photos. But that structure is key to delivering the water from the state water project and also returning it in dry years. The project includes nearly 322 acres of set-aside habitat mitigation lands. There's approximately 600 acres of recharge basins, similar to what you see behind me here. There's 7 miles of large diameter pipelines throughout the project site that convey water to and from the project. Ultimately, there will be 27 recovery wells that will use to pump the stored groundwater from the basin, or the stored imported water from the basin back to the aqueduct. And there are also plans to construct a new water treatment plant facility that will ensure all the water quality requirements of DWR are met before the water is introduced into the state water project. So like all water agencies, AVAC would not exist today without the agricultural and retail customers, landowners, and regional partners within the AVAC service area. I want to thank a few of those customers and partners that are here with us today. LA County Waterworks and Public Works Department, Quartz Hill Water District, Roseman Community Services District, Mojave Public Utilities District, Edwards Air Force Base, U.S. Borax Mines, Tejon Ranch Corporation, numerous mutual water companies that AVAC serves throughout the valley. And then some of our regional partners are also here today, including the Antelope Valley Water Master representatives, Palmdale Water District, Little Rock Creek Irrigation District, and the cities of Palmdale and Lancaster. I'd also like to thank the dedicated program management, engineering, and construction firms that have contributed their amazing skills and to design and construct this project. Many of these representatives are here today, and some of those involved are the Department of Water Resources, Kennedy Jenks, Stantec Consultants, Montgomery and Associates, Dahl Consultants, Westwater Research, Richard Slade and Associates, Blois Construction, Nicholas Construction, Bakersfield Well and Pump, and Pacific Coast Well and Pump. Finally, I want to acknowledge that the dedicated and talented staff of both AVAC and Metropolitan Water District for their commitment to ensuring the High Desert Water Bank project is a success. I think many of you have probably interacted on the project with Justin Livesay. Justin's here today. He's AVAC's engineering manager, and Justin has been awesome on the project. You know, Dwayne and I promoted Justin to engineering manager several years ago, and it was quickly after that moment that we realized that we made an awesome choice. Justin has really taken on the ownership of this project, and we really appreciate that. Justin's team of Joe Roberts and Ben Melendez, and the team under John Bozigan, our operations manager for the agency. I'd like to also acknowledge the staff of Metropolitan that we've worked closely with over the last 6 years. That includes Brad Coffey, James Botner, Kira Alonso, Tracy Abundez, and Stephen Burkhead. Now, to wrap things up, I just want to say that this project is a perfect example of what a solid partnership, unwavering board vision, strong leadership, and the right technical expertise and skilled labor can do to turn a once empty field into the High Desert Water Bank that will provide decades of improved water supply reliability and resiliency for Southern California. So, thank you. And at this time, I'd like to invite President George Lane up to say a few words. Thank you.
Yeah, Matt, thank you very much. It's nothing but amazing the project is taking place and we have in front of us today. On behalf of the Board of Directors of MAVAC, we would like to thank everybody for attending today and making this project possible. AVAC's Board of Directors is a very stable, hardworking, board. You just can't say too many, positive things about them, but they've never stopped talking about this, water bank. In the committees have been involved with it. We're here just constantly at every board meeting. Today is an iconic day for both the Antelope Valley in the Metropolitan Water District and the Antelope Valley Eastern Water Agency to see a water bank, the state of the art of this quality, being built today. We have approximately 280,000 acre-feet of capacity, over 1,000 acres of land right there, and possibility of expanding it in a future date. The valley has quite a history here, and Matt's talked a lot about the operational end of it, but I'll talk a little bit about the history. A little over 150 years ago, all of this valley was cattle grazing, and the valley is approximately 2 million acres, and you had cattle and antelope roam this valley for decades. And that cattle grazing, they came from the west end of the valley, which ran now to the east end of the valley. And that was open range before any fences or development to speak of. Then about 112 years ago, it's kind of proud to talk about it, the LA Aqueduct, train came through the Antelope Valley. And my grandfather, he hauled freight from the Lancaster Depot down to the aqueduct, and it was with 20 mule teams. At that time, there were a lot of artesian wells in the Antelope Valley. In the trip they had with the freight wagons and the mules, that was a multi-day trip, and they would usually stop where artesian spring was, and they would have an auger to clean the little spring out. It was about a 4-inch in diameter, about 4 foot deep, and there was plentiful water just about any place in the Antelope Valley, and they would use that to water the livestock and for the personal use. And anyway, that lasted for a couple of years, going from one end of the valley to the next when the aqueduct was being put in. And about 100 years ago, you started the farming. Most of it was dry land farming, and that was done with horses and mules, and you had hard winter wheat, barley, oats, and that lasted for a number of years. And about 90 years ago, you started the irrigation when electricity started to be extended the different ranches and farms, and the turbine pumps became more efficient. You had a lot of irrigation, and that lasted. The peak of the irrigation was 1955, and there's still a little irrigation left. But as that irrigation has went out, you can see there's a lot of other things that have taken its place. A lot of solar, wind generation. They're all very positive for the community. And we see what we have right here is a water bank. So it's a very befitting use for this land. It's no longer suitable for agriculture. Then in the 1930s was about the last of the small band of antelope that roamed, the Antelope Valley. In the Antelope Valley, that's named for the antelope. And a lot of things are named after that. The Antelope Valley High School, the Antelope Valley Press, Antelope Valley Fair. And that was a major accomplishment for the Antelope Valley for a number of years. Then as the antelope disappeared in later years, the 1970s, Dahone Ranch, they brought some antelope in, and you can probably see those even today. I think they're very close to here, and I'm not sure how many are left, but I think they brought about 100 of them in at one time. The Antelope Valley has went through some major changes because they started in as an agriculture community, and that lasted up until really recent years. Then in the 1940s and 50s, aerospace was a major factor. This is where the speed of sound was broken. The space shuttle was manufactured, and a lot of other accomplishments. And that's still a major factor in the Antelope Valley. And in later years, starting in the 1980s, it started to become a lot of a residential community where a lot of homes were being built and allowed people to get an affordable home. And a lot of them commuted down to Los Angeles. And that's still a major factor. You've got approximately 70,000 people commuted a day on the Antelope Valley Freeway. And AVAC, if it wasn't for AVAC, very little of this would have happened. Our groundwater supplies, they've diminished, and thank goodness for these water banks, and that's allowed for the development to continue, and that's allowed for the environment, and so that's a very positive factor what we're seeing here. And the set aside, AVAC receives 10%, and that's still going to be a major factor. It'll help lower the water or raise the water table because it was completely overdrafted for a number of years. But anyway, we're just so happy to be here and see this water bank, and looking with the future to working with the Metropolitan Water Agency, and hopefully we can do other projects. And it's my honor to introduce a gentleman that's largely responsible for this development, and he's worked in the water industry for over 30 years, and he's worked in the city of Los Angeles, and he's made a lot of this happen. A civil engineer, environmental engineer, and anyway, I know everybody had a big drive to come up here today, but we thank you very much. And General Manager of the Metropolitan Water Agency, Adele, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you. By the way, this new look and this new suit, this is the new general managers of all water agencies. Going to have that same look as Matt and I, and we're going to have the same suit. That's the new look. We're going to make us more efficient. So I know many of the general managers now look like us. So whether it's because we're trying to figure out and pulling all the hair, but that's different. It's a great day. Isn't this beautiful? Right? This is just an amazing day. I want to thank AVAC President George Lane and my partner Matt. Thank you, and Justin and also Dwayne for the work you've done before and setting the grounds. And thank you very much. Climate whiplash, the climate change is upon us, and we saw last few years what we dealt with. Some of our agencies were running out of water, and what we wanted to do, and the board has really taken action, is to really develop a climate adaptation master plan. And it's about how we manage water for the future. And it's not the same as we've done in the past. We need to have creative, new tools, holistic solutions, anchored in integration, innovation, but also collaboration and partnership. And what you see here today is all about those. It's finding new ways to take water when we have it during wet years and put it in the ground so we can have access to it when we have dry conditions. This is smart water management. This is the future of water management in the 21st century. This is what it's all about. And it takes partnership, working with everyone right here to come together to develop these solutions. It doesn't happen alone, and Metropolitan is committed to this partnership. It takes all of us in Metropolitan, 26 member agencies, 6 counties, but also we need to expand that to the entire area in California and also in the entire watershed in the Colorado River. It's all about working together. We have to be in the same boat, rowing together, because that's the future. So this is an example of what we can do. And what we here have today is a project that's going to take water when we have it, put it in the ground. And what we're going to be able to see is 280,000 acre-feet of water. 280,000 feet of water is equivalent to Castaic Lake. It's as 4 times the capacity of Big Bear Lake. It's double the size of Lake Perris. That gives you the magnitude of how big this is. So this is going to be amazing. When we have this operational, we're going to be able to put in 70,000 acre-feet and take out 70,000 acre-feet, enough for 210,000 households. This is amazing. This is going to be us sustaining ag, sustaining urban, but also when we have dry conditions, we're not stressing the delta. We continue to have water when we have it. That's the future of managing water in our region, in California, and the entire Southwest. This is going to be connected to the aqueduct, which we just talked about, and it's going to help us tremendously have access to our system, our member agencies, and the work we're doing. But really, this is part of our plan, Metropolitan's plan to adapt to climate change through storage, infrastructure of the future that's going to be able to move water back and forth from the areas that we have water to areas that, when we have water on other parts of the system, have an access to storage and moving this around, but also recycling every drop of water. That's the commitment we have, and we are working hard on Pure Water Southern California and moving the needle on that effort, continuing to clean up our groundwater basins, because our commitment to provide water, safe, reliable water for everyone, with no one left behind. No one should be left behind. Small, large, urban, ag, all of us. And that's the commitment we all have. Don't we have that commitment, all of us? Let's stand for it. Let's stand for it and do that. This cannot be done without the hard work of staff. And I want to just ask all the staff that worked on this to raise their hand, staff from AVAC, Justin and the team. I want to just thank our staff. I know I have Kira Alonzo. Kira? Hey, Kira. Hi. Thank you. Tracy Avantes. Thank you, Tracy. And Nadia Dajanta. I thought my name was hard. It's all good. But I know a lot of people worked really hard, and I want to thank the staff that made this happen. I know a lot of people worked hard behind the scenes, because what I tell people, this is a marathon. What we're doing for Water Future in California is a marathon. It's not a short sprint, but what we need is to celebrate the successes. You know, we cannot run the marathon without having these, every mile having a nourishment to get the sustenance we need to continue running. We can't do it without getting the support from the people around us saying, keep going, keep going. We need you, all of you, to keep cheering for all of us. Otherwise, we can't reach to what we need to do, which is safe, reliable water for all with no one left behind. And I want to thank you. And with that, it's my honor to introduce the chair of the board of Metropolitan Water District, who's leading the way, leading the board members, and really charging the staff to really develop the climate adaptation of the future for water, and how to do it and how we're going to pay for it. And I look forward to us celebrating more of these things happening everywhere in our region, because we owe it to our children and grandchildren to provide the safe future. Adan Ortega, our chair of the board.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Adele. Thank you, Mr. Knudsen, and for everything that your staffs have done to collaborate with Metropolitan at this great milestone. I also wanted to thank President Lane for his leadership of the AVAC board and encouraging this partnership with Metropolitan. I'd like to reflect that just about a year ago, 7 million Southern California residents had to endure drastic conservation, not because we were running out of water, but because we couldn't get water from Diamond Valley Lake to Calabasas, Ventura, the San Fernando Valley. And we realized at that point that we needed to be smarter in the way that we planned our infrastructure so that it could meet the kinds of challenges that we're facing because of climate change. The reason we got into that position is that we accepted models that indicated that we would never get more than a 20%, that we would never have more than a 20% allocation from the State Water Project. And last year, we faced zero, and the state had to grant us 5% just to be able to get by for health and safety. So this high desert water bank establishes a new class of infrastructure, and more so, a new class of interdependence between regions and agencies that must be an example for the future. I want to credit my colleagues on the board of Metropolitan for having the vision, especially those veterans that have been around for a while, like Director John Morris, who's here from San Marino. Thank you, John, for being here. Director Glenn Peterson, who represents Las Virgenes Municipal Water District. Thank you, Glenn. Director Brenda Denstadt, who got up really early this morning to come in from Riverside. Thank you, Director Denstadt. Director Jackie McMillan, who comes to us from Callegas Municipal Water District in Ventura County. And Director Carl Seckel from Orange County, from the Municipal Water District of Orange County. Now, thanks to AVEC, we can confront the next route with more confidence. The lesson is that we cannot sit on our laurels in the years when we have weather bounty. That's why, as Adele indicated, we have launched a climate adaptation master plan for water so that we can look out to the next 25 years and deal with some of the paradox that we're left with from the last era before climate change. Let me give you an example. When I first, started at Metropolitan, we were discussing the Delta tunnels, and the agency was in the middle of a lot of controversy, but it was a traditional kind of controversy where the Northern Californians would say to us, "We don't want you here. We do not want Metropolitan in Northern California. Do not steal our water." Well, earlier this year, several of my colleagues and I were in the Delta, and what the farmers were telling us in the Delta is that they're now beginning to see lower crop yields because of sea level rise impacts and the salinity of their supplies. This partnership with AVAC is indicative of the kind of partnerships that we're going to need to establish throughout the state as climate change forces us to become more interdependent, and where we have to collaborate in a manner where we're sharing resources, we're sharing finances, we're sharing our staff, and we're becoming more like one, as our general manager has been advocating since he became general manager 2 years ago. So I don't want to get into the technical elements of this project. I think they've been well articulated already. But I do want to express on behalf of the board of directors our sincere thanks to everybody at AVIC, the staff, the board, your member agencies who are collaborating with you much in the manner that our member agencies collaborate with us. And also looking forward to 25 more of these events, because I think we have 25 more of these ponds that we're going to build. So thank you very much for coming out. And I look forward to the next big event. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We do have an opportunity to take some tours down to the turnout facilities from the California Aqueduct. So if anyone would like to go on one of those tours, there's a couple of buses or vans leaving from right out here outside the tent, and they'll leave pretty much when they're full. So make your way when you're ready. Yes, we can do a photo for everyone.